For whatever reason, I cannot sleep tonight. I just have a lot of stuff on my mind. If you saw the very latest video I posted, it was just a quick home tour of the house that we were going to be buying. Sorry, the house that we bought. We are closing on it soon. Life updates. I don't really want to go into it right now. I plan on talking about it a little bit more next week. We're moving. And we're moving out of state. We were just going to be moving like 15 minutes away from where I live right now. But plans changed, and now we are... Apparently, I'm not the only one that can't sleep, apparently. My son has a cough. So if you hear him coughing in the background, anyways, we're moving out of state. We are moving to Alabama, which isn't too far. It's like 10 to 12 hour drive from here. But we did have to make some changes of like the things that we're going to keep and get rid of. So we did a lot of that the last few days, just getting rid of a lot of other stuff. So awesome. It feels so refreshing. It's kind of given us a perspective because so much of our stuff has just been sequestered into the garage that we haven't used for 6 months anyways, and we're like, it's actually kind of a nice break because then we went back and looked at everything and we're like, I don't need any of the stuff that I thought I needed 6 months ago. Cool, actually. Cool experience. One other thing that I had to do in order to prepare to move was, as you know, I sell a lot of books that I don't want anymore back to buy sell trade store, and I had to run up a huge credit of like over $100. So I didn't want that to go to waste. So today I went to the bookstore, and I'm gonna share with you all these books. Right, this little tabletop tripod. There we go. Sorry about that. So I guess I just decided that while I can't sleep, it was a really good time to just put together a quick a cozy midnight book haul for you guys. Let's get into it. It's really hot, and hopefully try to wind down my mind a little bit. I have a little bit busy day tomorrow. Go there quite a bit, and a lot of their inventory sometimes doesn't change, and they'll get, so for the most part I don't see like a whole lot of new stuff, but today was a really exciting trip. They had so much new stuff and a lot of stuff that I had been keeping my eye out for anyways. First one is The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. And this is just such a pretty cover. I've not read anything by David Mitchell yet. I do have Cloud Atlas on my shelf. I've heard like nothing but good things. I think this is something, I don't know really anything about this book in particular. I know that he has very unique like style and genre of writing. So I'm very excited to get into it. But the next one is The Rebel by Albert Camus, and I was really excited, and I was really excited to find this. It was completely unexpected because I always see The Stranger. I see hundreds of copies of The Stranger, but I've never seen any of this other stuff like at a used bookstore. I read The Stranger recently and I really liked it, so I've been excited to read more of his work. So it just worked out that I was able to find something. In the Skin of a Lion by Michael Ondate. I think that's how you say his name, Ondate. And he's the author of The English Patient. The English Patient is a very popular novel. I always see copies of it all the time at used bookstores. But for whatever reason, I just was really unsure if I would like it. Like just because it's popular, and they made a movie out of it. So I think at some point maybe I will just watch the movie. I believe my mom had read it and she really liked it. But this one just sounded really good. I think the synopsis alone doesn't actually sound like something I would normally like. It's 1920s Toronto. It explains his writing as being having intense visual images and surreal dreamlike episodes, which is kind of like buzzwords for me. And then it says that Ondate's intriguing story doubles back on itself, creating a rich, vast world where fabulous adventure mingles with the exquisite sensual secrets of the human heart. And that part of the synopsis really just spoke to me. So the next one, called The Marriage Plot by Jeff Eugenides. I don't know if I said his name right. But this one just sounded extremely interesting. 1980s American colleges. Madeline, who's an English major, is writing her senior thesis on Jane Austen and George Eliot, purveyors of the marriage plot that lies in the heart of the greatest English novels. As Madeline studies the age-old motivations of the human heart, real life, in the form of two very different guys, intervenes. The charismatic and intense Leonard and her old friend, all three face with the life of real world. They will have to reevaluate everything they have learned. The author creates a new kind of contemporary love story in his most powerful novel yet. They all say that, don't they? I found my very own copy of Letters to a Young Poet. I have already read this on ebook, and then I ended up rechecking it out on ebook again, because I never see copies of it, but they had it. I'm really excited. Ooh, and somebody has been marking in here. Oh, only highlighted. They didn't leave any messages for me, but yeah, I'm excited to have my very own copy to like really highlight and hold and touch. So there's that. This little book sounded really interesting, and I feel like I've heard this title somewhere before. Noblesse oblige. I want to say that's how you say it. But this tiny little book is actually essays that I guess touch base on a lot of very controversial topics, kind of centering around an inquiry into the identifiable characteristics of an English aristocracy. The subject had long been preoccupation of English people, but it had never been publicly discussed until Professor Alan Ross of Birmingham University published his paper, You and Non-You. I guess this talks about the class system and how that in the 50s, how there's a much bigger separation than there was even in the times of like nobles. It's like a different type of separation, I guess, that is like dividing people. I don't know. I very briefly kind of got the gist of what it's kind of supposed to be about, but I was really shocked, and at first I was like, that can't be. So I'm eager to see why they think that. Unbroken, it's book 2 of the Ruined series. Oh my gosh, I read Ruined a couple years ago, and I found it very surprising. It's like a Southern Gothic novel. I really remember liking it a lot. I have to go back and read the first one. I read it around Halloween time, and it's like New Orleans Southern Gothic, and I love that kind of genre. Oh, I also found Prom Nights from Hell. This is a short story collection about like supernatural stories, but these have, there's like 3 of these books. It's like Prom Nights from Hell, Vacations from Hell, Love is Hell. And these have authors like Marissa Marr, Scott Westerfield, Libba Bray, Cassandra Clare, and this one is Stephanie Meyer, Lauren Miracle, Meg Abbott. So a lot of authors that I'm familiar with, so I'm really eager to see what they've done in here. I was excited to find this one. Discourse on Method and Related Writings by Descartes. It's a philosophical book. Let the Great World Spin. What is this one even about? I didn't know that. Okay. All right, this takes place in like Lower Manhattan, New York, August 1974, about a mysterious tightrope walker who was running and dancing and leaping between the towers suspended at the quarter mile above the ground. I guess this is like supposed to like be kind of a story about bringing people together. So I got this one because, well, I could. And I'm very curious about it. When I first started BookTube, I think it was when I first started BookTube, I heard so many people like ranting about this book. And then some people really love this book. This book is super polarizing, and I am under the belief that based on the synopsis, hopefully it's something that I'm really gonna like. But I was surprised by how many people thought it was really bad. The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. I think a lot of people maybe didn't like it because they just read so much of kind of its kind, because I guess this girl like goes crazy. And so I can kind of see where like maybe some people felt like it was really overdone, but I don't feel like I was in that group. So I'm eager to see what I make of this book. And you know, if it wasn't good, it wasn't a big loss. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I had first read this book I think I read the whole trilogy on audiobook, but I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember I didn't care for it that much, but I was literally just talking to Kat at Prison Reviews about how, because we're both reading Strangest Humor by Laini Taylor, and I was like, I need to give this one like another chance. So I was really excited to actually find a copy. I'm ready to pick it up. The world just knows my brain lately, it seems like. This one I picked up is, I think it's a middle grade, and that is called The Peculiar by Stephen Bachman. And I'm not really 100% sure about this, except for it's about a kid who does something and all of a sudden is sent away because he's peculiar. And it reminds me of the book that I read, The Peculiars, but The Peculiars is definitely for like an older age group. I guess in this book there's also like fairies and stuff like that, but then he's even more peculiar than that. One is this beautiful copy. I had it on my to-reads list. The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Daniel Page, and like this cover, okay, it's really pretty. Let's get these stickers off. This is actually about sorority girls in Southern. So it's another like Southern novel about witches. I love that kind of thing. It takes place in Savannah, Georgia, and these are sorority girls, and there's like this mix of girls. One of them knows she's a witch, another one doesn't know that she's a witch, and then there's another one that's kind of like the shit starter who has a problem with her, and then there is a big brew and evil that they have to come together and figure out. So I'm really excited about this. I hope it's as good as I expect. Called The Bone People by Carrie Holm, I believe. First of all, this is definitely, I picked this up because of the stunning cover. I mean, it just stands out to me. So that's what initially made me pick up the cover, but then I really wasn't sure about it. So it takes place in New Zealand. Let me just try to read this to you. Booker Prize winning novel The Bone People begins in a tower on the New Zealand Sea. The woman who lives there is Karen Holmes, part Maori and part European. She's an artist estranged from her art, a woman in exile from her family. One night she is disrupted by a speechless, mercurial boy named Simon, who tries to steal from her and then repays her with his most precious possession. As Curran succumbs to Simon's feral charm, she also falls under the spell of his Maori foster father, Joe. Out of this unorthodox trinity, Carrie has created what is at once a mystery, a love story, and ambitious exploration of the zone where Maori and European New Zealand meet. What told me on this book was I ended up looking it up on Goodreads and reading some of the reviews, and one person put like a really long review, but just explained that this book has so much more in it and a lot of sure about these Maori people, and I guess like a lot of history between like New Zealand and Europe, and a lot about this boy Simon and how tragic his life is, and just like so much stuff. This is kind of a fun one that I picked up, and it is called Monsters, and it is just it's an anthology of short stories featuring monsters, and they are like monsters in all different walks of life. Like they can get, some of the stories have like actual monsters, other ones have like what we call monsters, or people doing monstrous things, and just a whole variety of things centered around monsters. I just thought it sounded like a lot of fun. This next one is Now and Then, a memoir by Joseph Heller. I really want to read this after I read Catch-22, which is on my TBR. Hopefully I'll get too soon. This one, I saw this a long time ago. This is a retelling. This is a Jane Austen retelling called Longbourn by Joe Baker, and apparently this actually features all of the like servants and stuff from Pride and Prejudice. And so we get like a completely different look at Pride and Prejudice from their perspective. And I've heard that this is like a really like, there's so many different retellings of Jane Austen, and sometimes it's hard, or Pride and Prejudice, so sometimes it's kind of hard to like find good ones. I've heard that this one's like a really good one. So I almost picked this book up the last time I was there, because I really love Daphne du Maurier's writing. I read Rebecca. I also have like a short story collection of hers, but now I can add to my collection with My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier, and she is a gothic writer, and it's a genre that I'm finding that I really like, is gothic fiction. This one's gonna be really cool, but I'm gonna have to read the original play first again. I must have read Merchant of Venice. So this is a retelling of Shakespeare's Measure for Measure, and that is called Shylock Is My Name by Howard Jacobson. And basically this is like a very modern retelling of it, and also it's supposed to be just hilariously funny. So I'm really excited for this, but like I said, I want to read the original before I crack this one open. But this is such a fun cover too. I love that contrast. Alright, the next one is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This one I have been like on the fence about for so long, because on one hand I really like that whimsical fairy tale feel, but then a lot of people said that this has kind of missed the mark. But I try, it's so hard to like try not to be influenced by other people. I get nervous that I'm gonna like waste my money on a book if it's not good, or if they were right or something. I am a proud owner of it now. I am excited to have it, and like this cover is like just so pretty. They did have the sequel, but the sequel was in paperback, so I decided to pass on it. I try to keep these things, and also because if I don't like it, or if I feel like one was enough, I've been doing that a lot lately now actually. I want to do a video on like series, I think, coming up, but I've been putting a little bit more thought into how I want to do it, just because there's been a lot of series that I've like forced myself to finish just because I feel like I need to finish the story out. I'm starting to think that if I read the first one and I feel like it needs to stop, or maybe I pick up the second one, it's not excellent, I'm just gonna stop and I'm not going to continue the series, and that's completely okay. I found Robert Jordan's book 2 of The Wheel of Time, so now I have books 1, 2, and 3, and also the prequel, Spring something. I have enough to start binge reading this series. Marina by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and this is a gothic tale. Apparently it starts off in this like boarding school, and then the main character like vanishes and gets transported to post-war Barcelona, apparently this book is very, very popular in Spain, and it's now making its rounds in the US. So I'm really excited about that, to have, you know, something like that is very popular in another country, plus Spanish, culturally, like, I really am into that kind of thing, and it's another Gothic novel. We're getting into the last little collection, and I saved it for the last because I wanted to mention the whole reason that I decided to go ahead and go crazy on buying this author is because I started reading Anais Nin's diaries, and oh my gosh, I forgot how much her writing speaks to me. I don't think I felt this like so intensely before, but it's like one of these books that I'm really hesitant to even talk about because I feel like I want to keep her to myself. I also feel like, in a way, her writing is so personal that it would be like reading my diary in some ways, in some forms. And so it just feels so personal, and like I want to keep it secret. She mentions it a lot in her book that she is highly influenced by D.H. Lawrence. So of course I have like this running list in the back of the book of all the literary references that she makes, and Proust is another one that she makes a lot of mention towards, but D.H. Lawrence seems to be her like one that the only one I really was hesitant towards was a book called Kangaroo. I think she does specifically mention kangaroo in the book, but I went ahead and passed on that just because I felt like some of these others were more widely read, at least for now. So first we have Women in Love by D.H. Lawrence, and this is like a library copy, obviously, but it's this, I think this is an Everyman's Library. Yeah, this is an Everyman's Library edition, so you can just pull it off, and it doesn't, that's fine. I found this one, it's really, really pretty. So we have Women in Love. Apparently this is about two sisters who are very, very close, and then they meet these men, and it's about like their love stories, and I guess it talks about that. So there's that. Then we have the one that she talks about the most, Lady Chatterley's Lover. And this in its day was super controversial because Lady Chatterley, I guess, is a very controversial character because of her infidelity toward her husband. So there's that. And then we also have Sons and Lovers. And this one is more about the relationship between the son and his father. And maybe because of the way the father treats like his wife and stuff like that. I forgot exactly. But there's that one. And then also I decided to pick up a copy of his selected poems, because I do believe that she has mentioned the poems as well, and I assume that she's probably read everything that this author has ever written, seeing as how influential he is to her. I think as we start out the diary, she's actually writing a piece about D.H. Lawrence, and I don't know if it was like supposed to be published in an anthology or if it was I forget what it was, but I would like to track that piece of writing down so I could read it. Of course, it wouldn't mean a whole lot to me now, I guess, unless I read him. So just something to note for the future. And that's all. So I didn't really get to sip on my tea because I was talking so much. But I think I'm going to pick one of these books, and what am I reading right now? I've been in like such a weird like reading mood again. I'm reading one book, but I'm not really enjoying it that much. Maybe I should just put it down and pick up one of these new ones that I'm really excited about. Or maybe I'll just get Letters to a Young Poet. What story would be perfect? I don't know. All right, well, good night, and I'm actually gonna see you next week, because I'm gonna see you next week because the girls that host the Because We Can Readathon is doing another Because We Can Readathon next week, and I will actually be able to participate even though my life is insane right now trying to move. They were reading my mind as well because it's going to be super chill, and I just can't wait. So we'll see you then. Bye.